There's a moment, somewhere quietly after the age of 80, when you realize the world around you has changed, not in a dramatic, headline-making way, but in the stillness, in the space between visits, in the growing silence that lingers longer than expected. No one prepares you for this. No one pulls you aside and says, "Hey, someday the phone will stop ringing quite as often. The laughter that used to echo in your home will grow faint. The faces you once saw weekly will become holiday memories. You live your life fiercely, independently, doing all the right things for healthy aging. You stay active, eat well, follow the doctor's advice. You raise children, build careers, love deeply. And somewhere along the way, you cross into your 80s with pride, unaware of what's quietly fading behind you. This isn't a story of weakness. It's a story of elderly wisdom, of seeing the world through a lens shaped by time, by joy and grief, by clarity that can only come from walking the long road of life. Today, we're shining light on two quiet truths about life after 70 that deserve to be said out loud, for yourself or for someone you love. Let's talk about them, not with fear, but with honesty, gentleness, and strength. 1. The shrinking circle, a social world that quietly narrows. After 80, one of the first things many seniors notice is the quiet fading of their social world. It doesn't vanish overnight. There's no big farewell. It slips away slowly, like water through cupped hands. Friends who once stopped by for coffee now call less frequently, if at all. Some move closer to family. Others face illness. Some simply fade away without explanation. Family members, wrapped in the demands of modern life, promise to visit soon, but soon stretches longer than expected. At first, you brush it off. You understand. Everyone's busy. You're still independent. Still find joy in solitude. But with time, the silence grows louder. Days pass with fewer conversations. Even the background hum of daily interaction, neighbors waving, casual chats at the store, seems to thin out. This isn't about bitterness. It's about naming a shift few dare to speak of. It's a form of senior health that goes beyond physical checkups. It touches emotional well-being, the need for connection, for being seen. Many older adults begin to turn inward, not out of loneliness, but out of love, recalling old stories, replaying laughter from the past, holding on to share moments like sacred songs. In this space, memory becomes medicine. Yet here's the truth behind this change. When a crowd fades, the importance of one or two meaningful connections becomes immeasurable. A phone call from a grandchild, a visit from an old friend, a letter in the mail. These aren't small things. They are lifelines. Advice for seniors over 70? Stay connected. Not necessarily to everyone, but to someone, one deep. Honest relationship can do more for your spirit than 100 acquaintances ever could. Because in this chapter of active aging, emotional closeness may be the most vital form of strength you have. 2. When small health issues aren't so small anymore. Another quiet shift many don't anticipate is how minor health issues can become major burdens. A sore muscle that used to heal in days now lingers for weeks. A simple cold disrupts your whole routine. A stumble that once earned a chuckle now requires weeks of recovery. Aging doesn't just slow us down. It narrows the buffer zone. The space between fine and fragile shrinks. You begin to notice how much effort it takes to stay balanced, hydrated, rested. You may still feel strong, and in many ways, you are. But resilience, once an invisible safety net, now demands deliberate care. This change can be more emotional than physical. It's not just the ache in your knee. It's the ache of realization. Your body no longer abounds the way it used to. That can feel unfair, especially if you've lived your life as the strong one, the caretaker, the problem solver. But here lies the deeper elderly wisdom, the ability to shift from pride and endurance to pride and awareness. You don't need to be unbreakable. You need to be attentive. You need to listen when your body whispers before it screams. You need to rest not because you're giving up, but because you're choosing to protect what matters. Healthy aging isn't about pretending to be 40 again. It's about honoring the miracle that is your body, still carrying you, still showing up, even as it asks for more patience, more gentleness. Drink the water. Take the nap. Stretch your legs. Tell your doctor what's really going on, even if it feels small. It matters. You matter. 3. The fading presence, when the world stops noticing. And then, just as you begin adjusting to the quietness in your calendar and the care your body now asks for, another change sneaks in, subtle but unmistakable. You start to feel invisible. It's not that people are unkind. It's just that the energy shifts. You walk into a room, and the world doesn't pause the way it used to. Your words sometimes get brushed over, as if your sentence has reached its end before you're truly finished speaking. You tell a story, and the listener's eyes flick away, not in rudeness, but out of quiet assumption. This is a wound that doesn't show on the skin. It lives deeper, a soft ache where dignity meets silence. Our culture idolizes speed, ambition, youth. So when you bring in decades of lived experience, of nuance and perspective, when you carry elderly wisdom into the room, it can feel misplaced, even though it's never been more needed. But hear this, you have not faded. The world may have grown noisy, but your voice still carries weight. What you've lived through, the loves you've held, the lessons that cost you years to learn, these are treasures. In fact, the most powerful advice for seniors over 70 isn't just for them. It's for all of us. It's a reminder to slow down, to listen more deeply, to honor the voices that have walked farther than we have. So don't shrink back. Share the story again, even if it takes a little longer. Offer the insight, even if you have to wait for the pause in conversation. Because in that moment, you're not just talking. You're preserving truth. You're shaping what healthy aging really looks like, from the inside out. For the shrinking landscape of daily life, over time, even your environment begins to change. Not abruptly, just gently. A favorite cafe closes. A neighbor moves. Your legs don't carry you quite as far, and the sidewalks you once strolled become longer somehow. What used to be routine, church, markets, morning walks, now takes more planning, more rest, more intention. This isn't weakness. It's a transition. One that life after 70 rarely prepares you for. The hardest part? It's not the smaller steps. It's emotional space that opens up in between them. The sense that the world you've known, one filled with familiar faces, familiar routes, familiar rhythms, is slowly, tenderly folding inward. You might wake up and feel the pull of silence more than the pull of the day. You might hesitate before leaving the house, not out of fear, but fatigue. And that fatigue, left unspoken, can grow heavy. But here's the hope. A shrinking world does not mean a shrinking soul. Even if your days look different now, they still carry the possibility of meaning. A conversation with a neighbor, a short walk in the sun, a new recipe, an old photo album. These moments are small, yes, but not shallow. They are the markers of active aging when lived with presence. You don't need to go far to feel alive. You simply need to go deep, to find beauty in the ordinary, to stay curious, to keep reaching for connection, even if it's over phone or across a shared memory. Because aging isn't about losing chapters. It's about learning to read between the lines and finding that the story continues, even when the margins grow closer. 5. When your body becomes unpredictable. Even as you learn to accept the shrinking spaces, both social and physical, a final truth quietly rises. Your body, the companion you've known for a lifetime, begins to change its rules. Some mornings you feel clear and strong. You rise without effort, your thoughts sharp, your steps steady. But the very next day, your knees stiffen without warning. A wave of fatigue greets you before your morning tea. Your grip weakens. Your breath shortens. And the hardest part isn't just a discomfort. It's a betrayal. The body you've trusted for decades suddenly feels unfamiliar. You begin to second guess. Can I lift that? Should I go today? Will I be okay alone? This doubt, this quiet erosion of confidence, is rarely spoken of. But it's real, and it doesn't make you weak. It makes you human. Here's the truth behind this discomfort. You're still in control, just differently than before. Now, control looks like listening, like adapting, like showing yourself grace. Healthy aging means learning how to shift from force to flow. It means honoring the signals, resting when needed, pacing with care, and asking for help not as surrender, but as wisdom. Because at this stage, resilience isn't about pushing through. It's about staying whole, even as you change. And there's power in that. A quiet, steady power rooted in elderly wisdom. The kind that listens, adjusts, and continues forward with dignity. Final reflection. Living wisely in the now. So, what can we carry from these 5 truths into our everyday lives, whether we're living them now or preparing for the years ahead? First, stay connected. Even if your world has grown smaller, make the effort to nurture at least 1 or 2 deep, meaningful relationships. Loneliness doesn't come from being alone. It comes from feeling forgotten. Call someone. Write a letter. Let someone know they still matter. Second, honor your body's limits with compassion. Don't see rest as failure. See it as fuel. Life after 70 isn't about doing less. It's about doing what matters most with care. Hydrate. Stretch. Breathe. Speak kindly to your body, even when it stumbles. Third, reclaim your voice. In a world that may no longer pause when you enter the room, speak anyway. Your stories hold weight. Your words still shape hearts. Advice for seniors over 70 doesn't need to be loud to be life-changing. It only needs to be real. Fourth, find beauty in smaller circles. Whether the morning ritual, a warm conversation, or a walk to the mailbox, notice what's still good. Gratitude isn't a trick for happiness. It's the anchor that steadies us when the wind shifts. Lastly, live gently, but deliberately. Let elderly wisdom guide not just your choices, but your pace, your priorities, and your peace. Because the truth is this, aging may change your world, but it never diminishes your worth. Your presence still matters, perhaps now more than ever. Thanks for watching. Leave a comment with number 1 to let us know you watched the whole video. We appreciate it. Subscribe and hit the notification bell for more great content. See you in the next video.